What are you extremists so upset about? If the communists keep on doing the same things they've been doing, and if we keep on doing the same things we've been doing, their timetable calls for not taking us over until 1973. And if they do take us, it'll be painless from within. They wouldn't dare bomb Washington, New York, and San Francisco. They'd kill too many of their own people.
Are you listening, Uncle Sam? A program featuring the thoughts and voices of grassroots America will return after these words from our sponsor.
Today's program once again features that modern-day Will Rogers, Tom Anderson. Mr. Anderson is the former publisher and editor of Farm and Ranch magazine and is now president of Southern Farm Publications in Nashville, Tennessee. Widely acclaimed for his grasp of world and domestic affairs, he is in great demand as a public speaker. Mr. Anderson has been a member of the John Birch Society's Leadership Council almost from the very beginning of that organization's existence, and it is in this capacity that his remarks are made today. We listen now to Tom Anderson, speaking before an audience composed largely of members, giving with his usual style of wit and humor something which we might call advice to the John Birch Society.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. Maybe some John Birchers are all right, but would you want your daughter to marry one? What are you kooks so upset about? Let's view the issues in their proper perspective. We must not be like the nearsighted poultry scientist who tried to cross a rooster with a rooster. All he got was two cross roosters. Some of you crackpots are trying to impeach Earl Warren. I don't understand why you super patriots want to pick on Warren. He has voted against the communists 8% of the time, just as Black has voted against the communists none of the time. Why be upset because the administration actively sponsors sales in this country of communist merchandise? There's a precedent for this trading with the enemy. Didn't we send millions of tons of scrap to the Japanese in the years preceding Pearl Harbor? And didn't we get much of it back? Are you nuts surprised that Latin America turned red at the Bay of Pigs when we turned yellow? Are you hate merchants in favor of upsetting Castro when he is mellowing and may, if we continue to give to him through the United Nations, become a good communist? You disciples of doom must learn to be more like the little ray of sunshine friend who was cheering up his buddy who was scheduled to die in the gas chamber in an hour. There's always something to be thankful for, he consoled. Just think, you still have your health. Are you reactionaries rebelling just because we continue to aid communist Yugoslavia and Poland in defiance of Congress? Why yelp about foreign aid? We are tapering off and making more and more enemies for less and less money. Someday our cost of acquisition for new enemies may be practically nothing. Are you fundamentalists upset merely because it's illegal to worship Christ in the classroom, but not illegal to plot the overthrow of our republic? Why can't you haters learn to love instead of hate? Like our Supreme Court Justice William O. Douglas, twice divorced, 64 years old, married to a new bride, 23. Just think, when she's 64, he'll only be 105. Reminds me of the man who divorced his wife because she was immature. He said, "Why, Judge, she'd even barge into the bathroom while I was taking a bath and sink my boats." What are you extremists so upset about? If the communists keep on doing the same things they've been doing, and if we keep on doing the same things we've been doing, their timetable calls for not taking us over until 1973. And if they do take us, it'll be painless from within. They wouldn't dare bomb Washington, New York, and San Francisco. They'd kill too many of their own people. And besides, they've taken 750 million people since our leaders told us World War II was over, and the big Red Army didn't fire a shot. So if you must worry, don't worry about the big Red Army without, worry about the big Pink Army within. Remember, this is a Cold War. We are cold while they war. A Columbia University professor recently stated, quote, 15% of the over-principled population should be encapsulated. This means locked up in a mental hospital. Are you mentally ill? To avoid Siberia, USA, don't fail to side with the administration. The majority is never insane, regardless. Reminds me of the 3 ladies who were locked up in the nut house, and one said, "I wish a man would come by and make love to me," and another said, "She ain't gonna be with us long. She's talking sense." Donnie said the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in a period of moral crisis maintain neutrality. If this is not a period of moral crisis, when have we ever had one in the history of the world? When freedom is at stake, our silence is not golden, it's yellow. I'm constantly appalled by business and professional people who say, "Well, maybe you John Birches are on the right track, but you are too controversial. I can't afford controversy. It hurts business." What difference does it make what your profit and loss statement is this month or this year when the profit system is being deliberately sabotaged by your own leaders? How could any informed person, how could any moral person refuse to take a stand? Lenin said the businessman will sell the rope to hang himself with if he can make a profit on it. You remember back during the Russian Revolution, the business and professional leaders thought that they were smart enough and sophisticated enough to stay on top, regardless of which regime won out. They all ended up shot in the back of the neck, and that's what they deserved. People who won't take a stand deserve to take a fall. I'm for people who will stand up with the majority or alone. I'm for the John Birch Society. Not only that, I'm for Robert Welch. I think the John Birch Society offers the best leadership, the best program, the best results to save our republic from socialism, insolvency, and surrender. And that's the reason for the smear. You know, there are about 2,000 so-called conservative organizations in this country, by count. Most of them have been in existence 25 or 30 years, meeting and eating and retreating. The John Birch Society has done more than the majority of that 2,000 organizations, and that's the reason for the smear. It's so-called fascist organization. Do you ever stop to think that every person and every organization that's done an effective job against the communists has been smeared from Martin Dies on down? In the first place, fascism and communism are peas in the same pod. They're the same thing. They're first cousins. Fascism and communism are not opposites. They're at one end of the spectrum because they believe in totalitarianism. They believe in total government and little people. At the other end of the spectrum is anarchy, no government. We who believe in constitutional government, in little government and big people, we are not the extremists. The slogan of the John Birch Society is less government and more individual responsibility in a better world. It's as far from fascism as you can get. Most of the charges that have been made against the John Birch Society are deliberate distortions, and that's a little bit scary to think of what the mass communication system can do. Most people who just read their newspaper, the Post, or Life, or Look, the Time, Drew Pearson, Huntley, and Brinkley, have a bad picture. They go home and look at the boob tube and they don't know any more about it than that. What can one person do? You can do everything. First, you can stand up on your feet and be counted. You can believe in your God, in your country, and in yourself, and in that order. And then go to work for God and country. And the best way I know to do it is to join the John Birch Society.
Are you listening, Uncle Sam? A program featuring the thoughts and voices of grassroots America is produced by the John Birch Society, directed by Ed Griffin. If you would like a printed transcript of today's program, send 50 cents for one copy or $1 for 3 copies to the John Birch Society, San Marino, California. Please enclose a stamped self-addressed envelope. Ask for broadcast number 4.